There was a point in my life when I was truly obsessed with isekai. Anime such as Overlord, Slime, Devil's a Part-Timer were all shows I watched when I was still in my pubescent anime watching stage back when I didn't even know where babies came from. The whole genre as a whole was a breath of fresh air, always captivating you with its amazing story and using its protagonist to help you be introduced to the wonders of this new world, as it gave us something unique each and every series. But now, each and every time someone says isekai, I just suddenly become exhausted. And that is not because I hate the genre per se. I mean, look at the thing I'm wearing right now, but I was just simply tired of the genre that made me love anime, that brought so many different ideas to life, just be disrespected by the entire industry only looking to make a profit. When I first heard the term Isekai Slop, I thought the sentence was used to insult the entire genre of isekai. And then I began to wonder, why was the entire genre of isekai being ridiculed by its bad examples? Why is isekai getting all these hate when there are other genres who are also being oversaturated with tons of other bad shows? But the more I learned of it, the more I understood. Are people really done with the isekai genre, or are people really done with really bad shows? So many isekai trash are being spammed like crazy by the industry that very much gave it life. Which is why I'm glad to say it might go away very soon. Re:Zero, Mushoku Tensei, Slime, these are all considered to be the top 3 best isekai in the world, and they are all airing all at the same time, a 3-way domain expansion. And now I very much wonder, seeing the success that all these isekais can do, can the industry finally turn its head to make sure they're focusing more on quality side than quantity? Kadokawa, the largest producer of isekai anime, just announced that they have lost over 51% of their total profits compared to the previous year. 51%. More than half of its profits just disappeared and went straight to the fucking trash. Can I say fucking? I'm gonna blur that. To the trash. Why? Because of these isekai slops. Kadokawa's over-reliance on isekai anime, constantly pushing these clearly not good shows out in the public just because they're isekai, in their words, oversaturated the market and led directly to them losing a lot of money. So the answer still remains. Are we really tired of isekai, or are we tired of isekai slops? Subscribe, like, support small creators like me, and fuck Jack. Now, to truly understand why the isekai genre has been so disjointed, we first need to understand why people fell in love with this genre in the first place. Because it matters, and it's not some video essay to just make it longer. Trust me, it will all be connected in the end. Trust me. Do I ever lie to you guys? Believe it or not, the isekai genre that we thought to be so revolutionary wasn't actually made very recently. It might have became popular in the 2010s with franchises like Sword Art Online and No Game No Life, which we'll talk about later. But there are some anime, especially in the early 2000s, that are classic and were isekai. Digimon Adventure, Inuyasha, Spirited Away. They each took the concept of someone being transported into another world and applied it into their storylines, and were all very successful IPs. So this genre isn't new. We have seen these shows before, but something changed along the 2010s, and particularly I'm talking about the internet. Popular games such as Minecraft, Skyrim, and World of Warcraft, each and every video you see is a let's play, a modded adventure, a skit about Dix Insider. Everywhere you go is something that entertains people and makes them forget about whatever that's bothering them in life. It's almost as if you want to be transported to that world and just forget everything and all the problems you have and just start over again. I bet some of you probably thought, because I thought so as well when I was a kid, that I was gonna be suddenly transported to Pallet Town and be forced to pick a starter. Obviously I'm gonna pick Squirtle and Bulbasaur. Who would pick Charmander? He's fucking trash. I was on my way to school and I was like, oh, what if I get transported to the Beyblade world? Can I finally battle with my Virgo DF145 BS, the Bey that I lost in the first round with when I was 9 years old? What if I can just leave all my homework and be transported to be the man and just be busting balls falls with everyone else. This is what makes isekai so appealing to us, because it brings these ideas to life. You ever wonder why some characters are just randomly transported to another world? Well, maybe because it's almost as if your imagination just suddenly starts turning in your head that you want to be in this world. That maybe the next time you go to a supermarket or go to your part-time job, now you will get isekai'd to a world where there's elf girls and there's wolf girls and a little case of slavery, but we'll talk about that later. Take for example Sword Art Online. But before that, we first need to talk about the elephant in the room. SAO, is that an isekai or not isekai? Because for years in my life, I never considered SAO an isekai anime. And like people I talk to, they never even consider it. They never even say isekai when they're talking about SAO. But all of a sudden, I was just rolling through the internet, and then SAO is being labeled as an isekai by people's standards. Like, what's going on? Did I miss a whole revolution or something? SAO is not an isekai. It might have inspired, millions of different isekai works and literally paved the way for more isekai, but I think SAO is just a virtual reality game. It's like a, VR chat. Well, I don't know why I dance. I actually don't know why. I think I'm slightly in the spectrum. But besides that tangent, I'm just gonna say SAO is not an isekai. It's a, half isekai per se. SAO was literally the pioneer for escapism anime. I mean, he is literally stuck in a video game, forced to grind and rank up to survive. 11-year-old me would go bananas, but I was sure I was gonna piss my pants if I see a wild boar chasing my sexy ass. I definitely do not want to be an SAO. But look at the MC. Who wouldn't want to be Kirito? You got the black swordsman, he wears all black, overpowered as hell, he gets all the B's, and he's stuck in a video game. We have never seen that anime before. Log Horizon, No Game No Life, Devil is a Part-Timer. Every show that came around offered something unique, and every main character is different. Some may be overpowered characters, but they are done in a way where they actually serve the narrative of the show. No Game No Life siblings Sora and Shiro were already geniuses from the very start of the show, so it explained why they're so smart in the first place. Devil's a Part-Timer follows an already overpowered demon lord through mundane average part-time tasks. Yes, they're overpowered, but they didn't get this power through like a random luck or unexplainedness. Their overpoweredness actually served a purpose and can be explained prior to their arrival in the new world. And prior to that, it's the story of it all. Why is the character here? Why was he brought? What connection of him being in the outside world mean to this new world that he is in right now? In Cautious Hero, Seiya was summoned to save the world to defeat the demon. But the catch is, he was already summoned in another world but failed to save that world because of his recklessness. It being an isekai checks out. In Tanya the Evil, he was a ruthless Japanese salaryman, always thinking of people as disposable assets. But now, through loyalty and trust and through experience, she now views her subordinates as comrades, brothers in arms. These borderline great isekai prove why they were isekai in the first place, and why giving them second chances mattered along the way. This is why isekai is so beloved in the community. But somehow along the way, this is just thrown straight out of the window. Because instead of focusing on what makes isekai so great, like the excellent world building, compelling main characters, great story, they're all replaced with the most generic group of characters, a boring story about killing the Demon King, and essentially the character being from another world just disappears, slowly and slowly becoming a fantasy anime rather than an isekai. I might be giving these Isekai Slops, too much, pain, but considering I probably just named 30 different shows with the same plot, it's just mind-blowing in it of itself. Because of course, the more you popularize something, the more it will be ruined by people. People who only see it as a way for making profits. You got writers being inspired by these isekai-like series, yet they'll never truly understand why isekai became great in the first place. Somehow along the way, this genre forgot why it was so great to begin with. And the craziest part about all of these is that it didn't happen overnight. Because once the industry realized that isekai anime were profitable, they stopped trying to nitpick good stories to adapt, and they just started adapting things that they think might sell because they were isekai. The really blame Kadokawa or any of these animation studios that you managed to publish Overlord, ReZero, Konosuba, Slime all at separate times and all of them became overnight hits? If you see that, of course you want to make another one. But the problem lies when the stories you're adapting are all essentially the same thing. Just because this formula worked on these other shows made all the other people start to believe that these are needed to make a good story. And what they got wasn't a good story and the concept. What they got was that, oh, if I show a black-haired MC with a harem and they gotta fight a demon lord, that this will get more sales. They thought that that is the isekai genre. Oh, well, this isekai needs an adventure guild because it needs to have an adventure guild. This isekai needs to have a demon lord because all isekais have demon lords. This isekai needs to deal with slavery because, well, you know, I just wanna. And I'm not saying all these tropes are bad, since, you know, most of the top isekais use these tropes as well, but the difference is very clear on how they use these tropes. In those top anime, these tropes support the story, but in Isekai Slop, it's like the story existed to connect all these tropes together. I mean, just look at all the premise titles in the isekai genre as of this point. Usually in isekai, the start is what makes everybody hooked. The moment someone dies or gets transported to another world and then we get to learn about their world is the biggest part about isekai for me and many others, I'm sure, as well, because essentially the main character does not know anything about that world, and the more he knows, the more he wanders, the more we know. It's excellent world building exposition. But instead of being introduced to this world and just be surprised, you know, be asking what world is this, there are people out there making literal legit bingo guessing isekais that predict the entire world and plot of these stories. And you know how crazy that is? A genre that is built on surprises being able to be, you know, guessed by some bingo. That is crazy. One of isekai's main appeal was just tossed away like it's nothing. And of course people were outraged. And this is why many people said they're done with isekai. They're diagnosed with isekai fatigue. Even myself, you know, it's contagious. People were tired of being force-feed the same show over and over. People were tired of such bad writing. The audience got used to guilds, overpowered MC, and harems. Yet the genre just refuses to grow. The audience became harder to impress. Yet they stayed all of the same thing. Slowly and slowly, isekai genre is being taken apart, which is why every time someone sees isekai anime, you know, in some sort of seasonal chart, everyone just disregards it as slop. So to answer the question I asked earlier, is isekai back? And the answer is a big maybe, because I don't think isekai left to begin with. First of all, let's tackle the isekai fatigue problem, because I don't think it exists. Just like the superhero fatigue that started spreading when Marvel was releasing all those stingers, everyone thought the superhero genre that made billions of dollars was dead. But like a few years later, where is superhero fatigue now? When good superhero movies came out, it filtered all the bad ones and made us realize, oh, we're not done with superhero movies. We're done with these fucking stinkers. That is the same thing with isekai. People aren't done with isekai. People are done with this isekai trash anime. And also, I'm not trying to disregard all these isekai tropes. A series can have all these isekai tropes, and as long as you make a good story around it, people would say the genre is still good. Even if big titles like ReZero, Mushoku Tensei, and Slime are all airing at the same time, as long as someone focuses on the quality, people would forget about the so-called isekai fatigue. I mean, look at Eminence in the Shadow, basically doing every isekai trope in existence, and it's still considered as a great isekai compared to most. There's still so many things that this genre can give us. So many IPs that are lost due to people calling everything Isekai Slop. Handyman in Another World, Campfire Cooking, Spider Isekai. These are all labeled as Isekai trash. Yet I'm telling you right now, these shows are an incredible watch, especially Spider Isekai. Hopefully it gets a season 2. Please. You know, we can't always rely on these big hitters like, you know, Mushoku Tensei, Slime, and, you know, ReZero to keep carrying this genre. So in the end, are we entering in the next gen of isekai genre. Now that Kadokawa is not gonna be over-reliant on Isekai Slop and they're gonna be focusing more on quality, are we getting more great Isekai very soon? You know, it all depends on what happens after the big tree finishes. Again, who knows? Subscribe, like, support more creators like me. I love you guys. Real one, say back.